am Dr. Joan Coleman, and the Xchange is exciting.
I'm Denise Cavalier. The Xchange is real.
I'm Carolyn Peucker. The Xchange is empowering.
I'm Donna Hutchinson. The Xchange is thought-provoking.
The Xchange, a Let Me Be Me podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Xchange. I am Dr. Joan Coleman, and today, if you're going to trust one person, let it be yourself. But before we get into that, let's introduce the ladies. Donna
Hutchinson.
Carolyn Peucker.
Denise Cavalier.
And again, I am Dr. Joan Coleman, and this is The Xchange, a Let Me Be Me podcast. Ladies, I was thinking about the topic, trusting yourself. So I'm like, well, what does that really mean? So I looked it up, and it says self-trust is being compassionate towards yourself. And it goes on to say people will with self-trust, they're self-empowered, they're confident, and they trust will come through any hard times. So what can not having trust in yourself lead to? So we know what trust in yourself leads to. What can not having trust in yourself lead to?
First of all, I love that you looked up the definition, and that was very informative. Thank you. I liked that a lot. I was like, oh, there's a lot of edges here. Definitely doubt is one of the things. I mean, not trusting yourself is doubting every step you're taking. So that's a big one to overcome.
I'm thinking, I've lost it. My brain doesn't work today. I had this perfect thing to say, and I just completely lost it.
Just trust that it's coming.
If you're not trusting yourself, you're going to be living in fear. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, doubt for sure. I agree with Donna, but living in fear.
Doubt and fear and...
I think it can cause poor decision making, because if we're not trusting in ourselves, we can, be sort of wobbly about where we're headed, and we can make bad decisions for ourselves.
Yep, and all that leads to your relationships. Now, listen, if you're doubting yourself, if you're fearing what you feel or what you want to do, and if you're like Denise say, guess what? What's going to happen? You're going to mess up your relationships, right? What were you thinking?
You're going to not be moving. You're going to be stuck. But that'll affect your relationships too. But
You'll be stagnant. Yes. And so we have to wonder, how do we are great. We're uniquely made. We're wonderful. But why can't we see that when it comes to, say, I want this job, I'm going for it, I'm going to set this goal, and I'm going to trust that I'm getting it? Why do we are so afraid of trusting ourselves when it comes to that? Mm-hmm. What can you think of?
I mean, certainly I can speak on experience that I have had so many changes of career and so many changes of, life, and even now I'm feeling that things are coming to an end, and I have to trust that those things will come to completion and to let the next step come. And I have to remind myself constantly, the steps have always come. You have always kept moving. Nothing has ever left you completely hanging for your life. So can you trust that the next steps are going to arrive? But that's a constant cultivation of reflecting on how far you've come, reflecting on how your life has moved, and then starting to trust that they're going to keep continuing moving forward. That's hard. It's not easy.
I think we're afraid we're going to make a mistake sometimes. So even though we have this gut feeling, our intuition, to trust that, and we kind of have a good, strong feeling about where we need to be, we don't trust that the outcome, we're afraid we're going to make a mistake. What if I'm wrong?
But why? Who cares? If you're wrong, at least you trust yourself enough to try. So why, Carolyn, why do we worry so much about other people's opinion on whether we fail, on whether we've arrived? Why does that matter so much?
Well, I don't think it should, but I do think it does. And I think it's because we're getting our worth from others and not from ourselves. Mm-hmm. If we had our own self-worth, it wouldn't matter. So I think it goes back to that. We have to bring it back and say, I am worthy regardless of what somebody thinks about me.
Right. And you know what, when you said that about self-worth and what we think, we want people to think of us as, we want people to be like, oh, she is fabulous, oh, we trust her. But let me tell you, people's opinion cannot put gas in your car. Can you run off of that?
Speak that one, sister.
Hey, and so we have to I wish we could break away from that. Now, listen to this question. Do you think all of this comes from childhood? Trying to please our parents, trying to please our peers. Have you experienced that?
Sure. I think even as a child, you're kind of always comparing yourself to others. And I wonder when that sets in, because I certainly watched it with my oldest, her setting in when she goes to school, whereas my youngest has never went to a traditional school, and she doesn't seem to have any of that. So it's curious. It's just, or is it just a personality trait that my child and I think myself are just kind of more like, well, where do I fit in and compared to everybody else? So I do think there is a root in childhood. I certainly feel for myself. Is that weird?
I'm thinking too about childhood, not that people were intending to hurt, but when people comment, oh, why do you look different than your sister? Why do you act different than your sister? Why are you not good at math like your sister was? That, can make you be like, oh my God, I'm not like my sister. What happened? That means I'm not good. That means I'm not good.
Yeah.
When that's not necessarily what the person was saying. So I know that happened to me a lot. I didn't look like my sisters. I didn't act like my older sisters. So I got a lot of questions all the time. So I spent my entire childhood being like, there's something wrong with me.
How about you, Denise?
I don't know. I think it's beyond childhood. I think it's cultivated in childhood, but I think we just have this natural tendency as human beings to want to fit in, to look good and to not look like a loser. And so I think it's sort of an ingrained thing to compare ourselves to other people and want to come out on top and to want to be understood.
Who determines that? Who determines how you're, if you're going to look like a loser or not? Do we put the pressure on ourselves? Because certainly no one's saying, oh, you're going to be a loser because you didn't do it this way, or I don't look like my sister, so I'm not good enough. Do we put those thoughts in our head? Because maybe say somebody comes to you, Carolyn, and say, oh, you don't look like your sister, then do you put the thought in your head, oh, I'm not good enough, I don't look like my sister? Or did they put the thought in your head by simply saying, oh, you look different from your sister,
Maybe they put a thought in my head that solidified a question I already had.
Okay.
Maybe we're aware, right? We're aware of the difference, and we're wondering, and then somebody says that, and we go, "Oh, I knew it.
That's
I'm different.
what it was.
I knew it. I'm different, and that's not good."
But how do you turn that into trusting yourself? How do you say, well, I'm different. It might not be good, but I'm still great. How can you turn that around to trust yourself that it's okay to look different? It's okay that my hair is brown and she's a blonde. It's okay. She like pizza and I like salads. It's okay. How do you turn that around?
I mean, I am still sort of working through this unconditioning of constantly needing achievement. So this is a big thing for me because my self-worth then is determined on that achievement. And now that I'm trying to step out of that need and that constant working to build myself into whatever the next iteration is, I have to stop and say, wait a minute, I don't actually have to do anything. I am worthy of everything right now. But that's hard because the world is constantly telling you need to be something else. You need to be more wide. You should want to be Beyonce. Yeah. What if I just want to be me? Yeah. And is that enough? We're constantly hit with it, and we constantly have to come back to that inner knowing of can I just be myself and let that be enough? But that's hard. It's hard.
It's super hard. Yeah. You go ahead, Carolyn.
But I was going to say a lot of self-talk, a lot of stopping the negative self-talk and rewriting it. But it is a battle, and I think it's a bigger battle during different phases of what we're going through. So I'm interviewing for jobs. Huge amount of highs and lows and questioning and feeling great and then being like, oh my gosh, maybe I didn't. So I had to really be wait a minute, stop, just let's see it play out. Don't make this assumption that you made the mistake. I was trying to review every minute of the interview. Oh my gosh, did I look funny? Did I say this wrong? Maybe that answer wasn't what she wanted or something. And
stopping those stories in your head is a choice, but
but they just come back. You have to do it again and again and again.
Absolutely. That's such a good reminder.
Perseverance.
Yes.
I like the word cultivation that Donna used. It really takes growing. It takes tending, almost like a garden. And I've noticed that with myself and recently. But it's also with something that comes with realizing that you have a tribe here. You have a tribe that, people that are similar to you or that you connect with, and being content with that, with who you are. And I think once you find that contentment, then it's not so painful when you get the, I'm weird thing. Yeah, you're damn right I'm weird. Darn right. And then being weird is okay, and being weird is not weird. It's just, I'm different than you. And I'm good with that. Like, I'm okay. I don't fit in there, but, I'm good here.
And too, that's if your tribe is willing to say, listen, I'm weird too, And sometimes people in your tribe, they're trying to be the same way. They're trying to trust themselves.
Yes.
They're trying to say, okay. And so, it gets difficult. Now, when was the last time you had to struggle with trusting yourself, and what did you do to overcome it, you ladies?
This is an interesting thing. This happened yesterday where the question, and I was going to journal out a question of who do you want to be by the end of this year? Because I was doing like a year in review thing. And I have no answer right now. None. Normally I have an answer. I can see a next step. I can write out something very clear. I have no direction, no thought. And what I would normally do was plow through and write it out and follow that kind of old storyline. And in this time, I'm like, I don't see the step for a reason. For whatever reason that is, I don't know what it is. Can I just trust that right now I'm not meant to know? Right. And can I change what I've done before and allow what is showing up right now? And again, I'm going to say for the 14th time today, very difficult.
Very difficult. Takes a lot of work. How about you, Denise?
Yeah, it's really a hard path. I mean, I'm up against something right now in terms of like job situations as you are. And it's a good problem because there's a lot of opportunity, but trusting myself about where do I really want to be right now and not just grabbing at straws and going too many directions, because that's my path. That's what I do, go down too many roads, and I'm like, I don't know where I want to be. So this will be a good exercise for me in trusting, and allowing myself time to step back and let these things sit with me and not feel like I got to give somebody the answer right away.
Yeah.
And knowing that if it's for me, it'll be there for me. And, so I'm working on it. It's hard.
And I also want to say, it's very uncomfortable. It's
Yes.
very uncomfortable to let go, and I think that's a good reminder to everyone too. Like, if you're feeling that it's uncomfortable and this feels weird, it's because it's not what you're used to. It's not the path you've always followed. So, yes, trusting yourself does come with a lot of emotions that feel uncomfortable and strange, but that doesn't mean they're wrong.
Right.
That's such a good reminder. I need to hear that often, so there's one for y'all.
Yeah.
So I spend maybe a little too much time sometimes thinking about what's happening and is that a sign. And a few things piled up, some of it pandemic related, some of it not, and I was like, wow, this path I'm on is feeling really difficult. It's time for a change maybe. And then I made that decision to say, okay, we're going to go in a different direction. And then somebody said to me, well, you've been out of the workforce for a long time.
Yeah.
How are you going to explain that? And I thought, oh crap, now they just made me doubt myself again. But I came up with something and I thought, no, wait, I was back at the workforce before the pandemic. The pandemic changed some things. So I re-grounded myself and said, no, this is fine. And I went on the interview and they asked the question. I answered it and the woman was like, yeah, the pandemic changed everything. And she totally accepted the answer and it was fine. But I did have that moment where I was like, crap, I don't know what I'm going to say. But I just rethought about it and said, no, wait, there's something. This is fine.
I love that you said you re-grounded yourself. That's such a good reminder to stop.
Yeah.
Stop and come,
Check yourself.
come within.
Yeah.
Because if you really trust yourself, you're right either way you go. Even when you're wrong, you're right because you trust yourself to step out on what you believe or what you think would be best for you. So as you guys were talking, the last time I had a struggle trusting myself, and I was thinking, but the one story that came to mind was when I was in grad school and I was taking the principal exam. So I'm in there And every question I answer, I'm like, oh, I'm just moaning. I'm like, going through it, right? 6-hour exam. Finished the exam. I live close to the College of New Jersey. After I finished the exam, it was pouring rain. I mean, raining. So I decided to walk home. So imagine this, me walking home in the rain, bawling my eyes out. Oh, that was horrible. Just like you said earlier. Oh my God, I can't believe I failed a test. I'm such a failure. Talking self-negative talk, all types of things. This was years ago. And then got home. Weeks later, I passed the test. I passed the principal exam. All that I did, all that self-doubt, all that moaning and carrying on, all that walking in the rain like I'm in a rom-com movie or something, just was for no reason at all. So sometimes after you have done what you do, after you have tried everything, just let it go and trust that whatever the outcome will be, it just will be. That's it. That's nothing else but that, and if you need to work on it, then you know how to work on it. And if you don't, and if it's okay, then you move on and do the next thing. But we're so hard on ourselves. How can we stop being so hard on ourselves?
I mean, even to that point of telling yourself, like, I have told myself this fear story so many times. I've spent so long thinking and ruminating and all this stuff. Has it ever actually led to the deepest fear I'm concerned about? No. So maybe the next time that chatter starts, can I just stop, reground myself? We don't need to go there, and we don't need to catastrophize. I think that's the word. Every single thing and thought we have.
But that's what we do.
I know. We gotta stop.
I waste a lot of time. I think I'm learning too is I can tweak things. Like, I can think about an offer, think about a situation, and maybe some of it looks very appealing, or it looks like, my gut says, yeah, but there's this part of it that says no, and learning to talk with people and really take time to think about what really will work for me here, and putting out, an offer about what'll work for me better, and see where it goes. And trusting in that it's okay. Like, if it falls apart at that point, all right, maybe it's not for me. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Because what's for you will certainly be for you. Can
It'll
nobody
come.
take it away?
Yes.
Right, Carolyn?
That's beautiful. It's true, right? If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. So why are we spending all this time spinning out, trying to predict the future, fortune telling? All of a sudden we're 30 years down the road living under a bridge. Well, what? Like, why? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah.
It's very silly. I don't know why we do it. I don't know why.
I think we're creatures of habit, and I think Donna said it earlier, social media, what we see, what's in our eye gate every day, how we look at somebody. We might see someone walking. We don't know their life story. We don't know their struggle, but because they look fabulous, we're like, oh, they got it going on. We don't know, so we put our self-perception on other people and then think, oh, that's how we want to be. But we don't know. You never know what's going on in anyone's life. I don't care how they look, if they look like the queen or if they look like they're homeless. We don't know what they went through. So that would be a big thing to stop doing. Stop looking at people and stop trying to be like others. You know what I mean? So how do we build, I just gave a little bit of nuggets, but how do we build self-trust? What are some principles of self-trust?
I think for me, reflection is a big thing I had mentioned before, like realizing how you've been led, where you've gotten so far. Everything's been okay, even though how many times did you probably think they were going to fall apart, and you're still here, you're still fine. Yeah. What do you think's going to happen going forward? So kind of remembering how far you've come and recognizing that will be what will be going forward. You're just more worried about it because it's your present moment right now. And can we start to turn it into everything's going to be fine? I try to say that to myself a lot now. Everything's going to be fine. I want a tattoo on my forearm. Maybe you're doing just fine.
Yeah. Maybe
you're doing just fine.
Or
maybe
I'm doing just fine.
Right. Not the maybe. Take the maybe
out. I'm doing just fine.
We'll be back next time and we'll all be like.
And it's true. You got to trust. You got to trust that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You got to trust, like Carolyn said, you're not going to live under a bridge in 10 years. You got to trust yourself that you're strong enough, you're resilient enough, you're wise enough to make the moves that will help you to go where you want to go. Yeah. Tell us some principles.
I'm thinking we have to get back to what is it we want? what is it in our life that's helping us get what we want or stopping us from getting what we want?
Mm-hmm.
And what are we going to do to make those changes so that we're in line with what we want? Then you're going to be trusting yourself because everything's going to be smoother.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Explore,
Explore.
eliminate. No, I read that wrong.
I like it.
Yes, and then execute. So what do we want? Exploring what we want.
Truly.
Really looking at what's messing with that and eliminating that, and then executing and saying, okay, this is what we want. We're going to do this instead. I think we then will be trusting because it'll be flowing in the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I think, taking time to take stock of ourselves too, because I think a lot of us, all of us, we have so many good qualities, so many skills that we could build on. And so then it doesn't feel so limited when so you step out, maybe make a mistake, or, you trust your judgment, you make the decision and you step out. And then every time you do that, you're building resilience in yourself, I think, because it's like, all right, and like you say, Donna, self-reflection, all right, this didn't work out. It didn't work out because X, Y, Z, and then, being positive about the fact that you you had the courage to step out, you took a chance, and you got all this backup here. Like, that didn't work out, but this will. And, so building resilience.
Building resilience.
Yeah.
I love that. I love what all of you ladies said. And I want to ask you this. So you talked about being positive. Does confidence, which I know the answer, does confidence play a major, big role in self-trust?
Yes.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, trick question?
But how do you build it?
I was going to say that one's a hard one for me to
that's how you
maintain.
build it and maintain it.
Yeah, I mean it's constant, and even I just watched this show called Cheer on Netflix, and it was about there was this one character, and he just was confident all the time, and I looked at him and was like, that's all we actually ever have to be. There's no reason we have to convince ourselves that we're not fantastic, and yet we do. I certainly do, because it's like, make sure you're small enough so everybody will like you.
Yeah.
But then it's like Ladarius was killing it, just confident. I'm going to own my inner Ladarius. Watch Cheer on Netflix.
Listen, with a name like Darius, you have to be
That's
confident, right? Carolyn.
We absolutely have to have confidence to be able to trust ourselves. So how do you build confidence? That might be a little bit about surrounding yourself with people who kind of say, hey, you're really great too. Like a few times when I was doubting myself during this interview thing, I would text a friend and say oh my God, I'm having this, blah, 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 blah. And they would write back, no, if you're right for the job, you're going to get it. You did well in the interview, you did. They would reground me. So if we have these people in our life that help us remember, then we can grow our confidence too.
Right.
So good.
That's so good.
I agree with that. I think it's really good to have people on your team that reflect good things back to you. It's certainly better than having people on your team that aren't very positive about you. So attracting those people and doing that for them as well, having, supporting each other.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. But I think some of it too with confidence is just learning to get back up. Okay, I'm down, I screwed up or whatever, and just learning to get back up with a smile on your face and go back in. And so I think the more you do that, the more confidence you build.
That's so
Yeah.
good.
So not being afraid of failure
No.
builds confidence.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good point too.
Sometimes you get back up with egg on your face, for
Yeah.
sure,
It's okay.
but it's okay.
Yeah. And guess what? Failure's a part of life.
That's
if you
right.
don't fail, how will you learn?
That's
And
right.
so it's great to fail. It doesn't feel good in the moment. It doesn't look good. But after a while, you're like, oh, I learned that the last time. I'm not going to do that again. So
Yes.
it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. Everyone wants to succeed, but no one wants to fail. And I love what you said about resilience. Get back up. You fall down, get back up again. You could get back up, 7 times? Well, how many times? However many times you fall, you can get up again. And I want to ask you this question. So, know yourself better than anyone. Do you know yourself better than anyone?
I think I've done a lot of work to try to unlock a lot of keys of myself. It took a long time though to really find that. I think that's age and just asking yourself and going in and really saying, who am I really, what do I actually want versus what am I wanting because other people have it?
Yeah.
That's a constant question. So yeah, I think I do.
Do you, Carolyn? Do you know yourself better than anyone?
Yeah, I do. But I think, too, the last 5 years did a ton of work. Did a ton of work on that.
Yeah.
Lots of books, lots of courses, lots of therapy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say I hope I know myself better than anybody else because I'm in here, I'm living in here.
Yeah.
But it's a journey for sure. It's a journey. I don't ever expect to arrive.
That's right.
But yeah.
It's always a journey. I believe I'm learning more about myself. I love it because and I could see a difference in myself because the way I used to be, I'm no longer that way, and I haven't arrived yet. Like you said, it's a journey. So daily I'm pouring into myself, and how I do that is through, it's weird and no atheists come for me, but it's through prayer and through hymns and through church and through, my connection to God, to higher power, and that's how I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it through this day,
Yep.
And so that's how I build myself up. That's how I get back up again, because those negative voices will come. Trust me, they're like, huh? They're waiting on you like this. They're
really
behind the
are.
bush like, what? Waiting for you to think one thing, and then a whole bunch of them gang up on you. So, in that, one of my tips is to just have confidence. Confidence matters.
Yeah.
Confidence matters. I know I inspire confidence. I talk confidence a lot, but it really does matter once you accept that, okay, I'm going to try this confidence thing. It does matter. And this is my other tip. Don't listen to people. I mean, take the good stuff, leave the bad stuff.
Yes.
Get the message, leave the mess. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And just don't let people's decision affect you. Don't let their opinions affect you. It's easier said than done because we're people. We need each other to survive. So what you think, affects how I think. Listen, I'm with the ladies. This was a good topic, you
great.
ladies.
Very nice.
Trust yourself. If you're going to trust one person, let it be yourself. I am Dr. Joan Coleman. I'm with
Donna Hutchinson, giving you permission to be confident. I need permission.
Yes.
Go.
Carolyn Peucker.
Denise Cavalier.
And this is the Xchange, a Let Me Be Me podcast. We want you to be your authentic self. We want you to know that you are loved. We want to affirm you, encourage you, inspire you, and motivate you. That's why we are here, right? Be you. Let you be you. Let me be me. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching. Oh,
Bye.
and we're on Instagram, YouTube, CNJ and TV, CNJ and YouTube, and The Xchange.
We have a new email, theexchangepodcastnj@gmail.com.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.